The free agency period in the NFL only just begun, but there have been so many big deals already that it's time for a recap. Chris Lovitt and I look at the deals in the NFC. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more NFL videos.
If we move over to the kind of NFC side and look at what signings they've made there. I mean, in the NFC East was kind of fairly quiet so far. Of course, the Cowboys had their huge kind of, if you want to call it, free agent signing way before when they finally extended Dak Prescott. But other than that, they have done absolutely nothing in terms of signing big names this year. Like, they missed out on so many players, and kind of the same can be said about the Giants. They have basically done nothing. They signed John Ross to a one-year deal. I mean, he's always, like, of course there's potential because he's one of the fastest guys out there, but he has been injured every season. Then inside signed Kyle Rudolph, but that's no major signings. The only one they did was kind of Leonard Williams to a big deal. And then the Eagles have done absolutely nothing. And yeah, Washington has done some decent signings. I guess the best signing there would have been probably Curtis Samuel to a 3-year deal. He's been a very solid wide receiver. So yeah, I guess I like what the Washington did almost the most.
Yeah, there's been some good moves. I think the Eagles are probably in a similar position to the Steelers, where they're just kind of cap constrained. They've got so much dead money this year from the Wentz trade that I'm not sure they kind of have the opportunity to do much. The Leonard Williams deal that you talked about, this is quite a risky deal. I think he was really good for them last year. Really impressed with his numbers, his kind of general play. But it was kind of, maybe over the last like year and a half that he's kind of come on. So it's not like, a huge 5-year deal or anything like that. And there's kind of no reason why he can't produce those sorts of numbers again. But it's quite a big deal for a small sample size, I think. And then, I think the only other team, that have actually done anything of, note or significance has been the Washington football team. Obviously signing Fitzpatrick, it looks like he's going to be the starter there. They should have kind of a healthy competition with him and Heineke, both of those guys fighting for the starting job. But you feel that there's some big moves to come in the NFC East. I know the Giants had a meeting with Kenny Golladay today. I think that would be a great pickup for them. But yeah, this is definitely a slow burner of a division.
Yeah, and then the NFC North. I mean, the Bears just, like, once again, just I don't understand what their plan is or what they're thinking. Like, signing Andy Dalton, and apparently he had, I think, his press conference today, and he said they told him that he's going to be their starting quarterback, and so they're going to go into the season with Andy Dalton. I don't think that's any upgrade whatsoever with Trubisky, maybe even a downgrade because he's less mobile. So I have no clue how the Bears want to be competitive in the NFC North.
Yeah, I said that I think Bud Dupree was probably the worst signing. I mean, if you look at it from the point of view that everyone knows that Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are on their kind of last warning, so to say, like this is it for them, really. I mean, anything less than winning a playoff game this year and they're both sacked. And they did try and make a big run at Russell Wilson, a huge trade. I think it was 3 firsts, a third, and a couple of starters as well. But, there was no way Seahawks were ever going to trade Russ, really. So they kind of, and to go into the season with Andy Dalton, I mean, they've almost signed their own death wish, really, because you're not going to get playoff winning performances from Andy Dalton, especially not with that offensive line in front of him. Very limited weapons as well. I really don't like this move, and I think this is the end for Pace and Nagy, barring some kind of miracle, really.
Yeah, definitely. I don't understand. I mean, unless they kind of just throw in the towel and want to tank the season to just get the first overall pick next year. I don't know, but that's just a head scratcher there. And then, I mean, the Lions, they basically didn't do a thing, even though they have so many holes everywhere, especially on the defense. I mean, they got Michael Brockers, but he's not really the answer. And other than that, they haven't really shored up their defense so far. And the Packers, I think, overpaid for Aaron Jones. I don't think, like, not that many teams have, like, when you look back over the years and seen the big, like, contracts to running backs, most of the time it's just blown up in their faces, in the team's faces, because you don't really need to overpay a running back nowadays. I think they overpaid for Aaron Jones. And I mean, a deal that I kind of like is the Patrick Peterson signing, the 1 year, $10 million deal to the Vikings. I think it is maybe too much, but it's kind of a low risk, high reward. He still has something left in him, and is such an experienced corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to agree with the Aaron Jones deal. That's one that I circled as a bad deal as well. There's circumstances where paying your running back might be, worth it. Like if you're the Titans and you kind of see what huge, impact Henry has on that Titans offense. But when you look at the Green Bay offense, I mean, there's not really much need to pay that much for Aaron Jones. I mean, I think AJ Dillon is a pretty good, competent replacement for him if he was to leave. And they do have some, kind of cap conundrums, I guess, coming up. They're not going to be able to re-sign everyone, and I don't understand why they gave Aaron Jones this much money. And then just to quickly talk about the Peterson to Minnesota deal. I mean, he has been an All-Pro multiple times. He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, one of the best corners there is. And when you see about Mike Zimmer's system and how much he relies on corners, he's almost taking Patrick Peterson to play that Terrence Newman role, where even though Newman was like 36 or 37, he was still effective because he knows the system inside out. And hopefully that's going to be one that works for Minnesota.
Yeah, and looking at the NFC South, I really like what the Carolina Panthers have done so far this offseason. I mean, they kind of shored up their offensive line with signing Pat Elflein and keeping Taylor Moton and Cam Irving kind of there. And that's, I think, all maybe tailored towards getting a new young quarterback and just protecting him at all costs. And then also, obviously, the addition of Hassan Reddick, you already mentioned it earlier. That's a very kind of low risk, high reward signing there. And then I think the Saints the Saints obviously cannot do much with their cap situation. But it was just, and the Falcons are also kind of hamstring, have some troubles because of the Matt Ryan contract that is looming over them. But overall, I really like what the Panthers have done in the South, and of course the Buccaneers, who were able to kind of keep the whole band together with Barrett, David, and Gronkowski, and also franchise tagging Chris Godwin.
Yeah, and if all reports about the Panthers are to be believed, they're still very hopeful of getting Deshaun Watson. So I think they've made some good O-line moves. Really like the Hassan Reddick signing. I think that's a great deal as well. You're spot on about the Saints and Falcons. Neither of those can really do anything with their cap situation. And then you've almost got the complete opposite of that with the Buccaneers, who have just been, apart from New England, probably the biggest spenders. They re-signed Shaq Barrett, which is huge for them. Franchise tag Chris Godwin. So it looks like and obviously they've re-signed Levante David, Rob Gronkowski. They're really trying to keep the band together. And with Brady signing the I think it's another 2-year extension or an extra year maybe. They really look like they're primed for success for at least a couple of years. I know in the NFL, Super Bowl windows don't normally last that long, but I think the Buccaneers have made some very smart moves to try and keep theirs open for as long as possible.
Yeah, and speaking of Super Bowl window, I think the Cardinals are just continuing on that trend and kind of trying to load up their roster while Kyler Murray's on his rookie deal. I mean, I like the AJ Green signing for them to just give them another weapon there on the outside line. Now you have Dustin Hopkins, AJ Green, maybe still Larry Fitzgerald, and then you still have Christian Kirk. So they have a lot of weapons now, even more weapons for Kyler Murray. Then, of course, with the J.J. Watt signing way earlier, they shored up their defense. And like you said, with the Rodney Hudson addition, just giving Kyler Murray some more protection. So I really liked what the Cardinals did. And the Rams, basically, they haven't done much. I think the Leonard Floyd deal was too much. I think they overpaid for him. He's not worth $64 million. He had a solid year, but that's just way too much. And of course, for my 49ers, I'm extremely happy about what they have done so far this offseason. I think it was just crucial that we got Trent Williams back. I mean, is it maybe a bit too much money? I think it is, but we just had to to get him back. And I really like the Alex Mack signing to just give this O-line another veteran to kind of better protect whoever quarterback might be there next season.
Yeah, I kind of like most of the Cardinals' moves, and when you look at Cliff Kingsbury's system, how much he relies on the kind of air raid offense, I think getting AJ Green was big for them, and getting Rodney Hudson, for I think it was a 3rd-round pick is pretty cheap when you consider he's one of the best centers. So again, just like Justin Herbert's getting a veteran center, I think is going to help take his game to the next level. Kyler Murray also gets the same there. The Rams definitely overpaid for Leonard Floyd. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He had, 1 year and a half of good production, but it seems like that's all you need in the NFL these days to get yourself a huge deal. And with the Rams obviously trading a lot of their 1st-round picks for high value veteran players, they are heading towards a cap casualty as well. But it seems they just keep kicking it down the road, same as New Orleans. And I think the 49ers probably have actually probably made the smartest moves. Like you mentioned, I think Trent Williams is such a huge signing. While the deal is I think it's 6 years, 138 million. There's only 55 million of that guaranteed, which I think is huge for a player who's 33 when signing such a kind of long deal. He is now the highest paid tackle, and he plays like one of the best tackles. So yeah, I really like that move as well.
Yeah, no, and that like the Seahawks, they haven't really done much. They just tried to keep Russell Wilson obviously at any cost and tried to keep him healthy. But of course, there's still a lot of free agents out there, so interesting to see what happens over the next few days, and then pretty soon we're gonna have the draft.